power for over a week now with no end in sight at this point. So been trying to push through that, but um, as you were, through my dad on the phone is probably low quality. You can probably hear the generator in the background. That's what I'm currently using. I was able to get a generator just a few days ago to try to push through this. Because again, don't know when this is going to be over, and um, it's been a really, like I said, difficult time. So hey, if you can help support the show, I'd greatly appreciate it. This has definitely been taxing on us in many ways, including financially. So if you're able to support us, prayerfully consider that. There's a number of ways where you could do that. In the show notes below, there's links to GoFundMe's and PayPal and Patreon and all that good stuff. So do consider supporting the show if you're able to. All right, so let's talk about the new Epstein files that just dropped. Over 3 million documents that just were released by the Department of Justice. A lot there, right? But there's some stuff that is certainly circulating and making their rounds online already. And, there's definitely some stuff here that raises an eyebrow and is concerning. But I do want to say this just at the outset. When it comes to this, or really just in anything, in the world, in the church, in the media, doesn't matter. My inclination is to be, on the one hand, cautious, not to jump to conclusions, but also not to stick my head in the sand, right? I want to try to balance out both of those, and I want to do that with this situation. My take is to be cautious with any accusations that are made about people, whether they're accusations of people on the left or on the right, whether they're people I agree with or don't. I want to be cautious, but I also don't want to be this that conclusions and assume that accusations are, 100 substantial evidence. Right? I withhold judgment. I suspend evidence, becomes more clear. And hopefully, this situation will be investigated further so that we can get some answers. That being said, there are definitely some things here that are concerning. Accusations that are made about, again, people on the right and on the left. So there's accusations being made about Trump, about Elon Musk. But there's also, plenty of people on the left who are being accused. And that was actually something that, somebody asked me earlier in the comment section. Well, look, if these claims about Trump and Elon were right, why didn't the left use this against Trump whenever he was running for a second term? Well, the response is because Biden and many of the people who are on his side are also in the Epstein files. I'm not saying like Biden himself is in them, but his team, his side, his people, they're also on in the Epstein files. Bill Clinton, for example. So Democrats are named and listed, and accusations are made against them. And so it could be that both parties have attempted to cover this up. We did see that Trump was being very dismissive. He was first running on the platform of he's going to release the Epstein files, and then all of a sudden everything shifted, and then he starts singing a different tune and says, it's just a hoax. There's nothing to it. Wait, what? Well, if that's the case, release the files. Let us make that judgment. Don't make that judgment for us. But that doesn't sound right for him to all of a sudden change his tune. So that seemed pretty odd, right? The platform of telling people what they wanted to hear, but whenever he got in office, didn't make good on the promises. I don't know. Could it be that he already knew that he's in here, and so he knew whenever he got in office, he wouldn't really make good on the promise? Maybe not. I don't know what's going on, but I'll certainly say it doesn't look good for him. the stuff that is coming out. Doesn't look good for Elon. Doesn't look good for Prince Andrew. Doesn't look good for Bill Clinton. There is accusations made here about a lot of people that are some, really dark accusations. Child sacrifice being brought up here in some of these accusations. Torture. Obviously, the PDF stuff is here, but murder, rape, all sorts of allegations are being made against a number of people. And like I said, it's concerning. So I don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't want to assume, but I also don't want to be dismissive. And I do want to see an investigation on these issues. And I want some answers. I want to know, is this true or not? And for anybody who's guilty, is there going to be accountability? Because if there's no accountability at the end of the day for any wrongdoing, then all this talk about justice, all this talk about truth, I don't want to hear it at that point. Okay? So let's go ahead and maybe dive into some of the material here. Let's go over a few videos and then through some of the documents. Somebody's saying the quality is a bit poor today. Well, like I said at the beginning of the show, been without power for 7 days now, operating on the generator. So please, forgive me for the lack of quality, doing the best that I can to be here and to stream. So please, I'd appreciate the understanding. All right. But let me know if you're not able to hear me at all at any point, or if the video is not coming through at all. Please let me know in the comment section. All right, so let's actually go through a video that just came out, giving a recap of it, just to kind of prime the pump here. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to take a look at it together. Please let me know if there's any difficulty in hearing the audio. Let's go through this together. Okay, let's begin.
The DOJ has officially released all of the Epstein files, and here's what we know so far. According to an email, Bill Gates had caught an STD from one of the Russian girls and reached out to Epstein to get antibiotics that he could secretly give Melinda, which is probably one of the reasons when talking about her divorce, she said this.
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing, it was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Emails show that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just trafficking these girls, but apparently also torturing them as well, possibly to death.
All right, so please let me know if there's any difficulty in hearing me. So here they're noting that the Epstein files actually notes that there's accusations of torture. Here there's an email from Jeffrey Epstein from 2009 saying, "Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video." Torture video. That's a weird thing to say, right? What is he talking about? What is this torture video? And you just probably heard, a conversation between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates about Bill Gates needing STD medication from Epstein. Now, why would this rich billionaire need to go to Epstein for that? I don't know. But that is pretty odd, right? Okay, so sharing the screen again. Let's go through it and watch it.
You have to wonder why these names are still being redacted. Elon Musk is now in the files for the first time from emails in 2013, where him and Jeffrey Epstein were going back about Jeffrey Epstein sending him a helicopter, possibly to go visit his island, considering that Musk was in the British Virgin Islands, only 15-minute flight away. No shocker here, Hillary Clinton had invited Jeffrey Epstein to a very intimate fundraiser, but it was hosted by Howard Lutnick, our current Secretary of Commerce. When it comes to Lutnick, it doesn't stop there. There's an email that
and let me know, can you hear my audio now through my microphone? Is that coming through? Please let me know there in the chat if my audio is a little bit better now, because I think it got actually switched to my headset And so it probably didn't sound as clearly. Let me know if it sounds a little bit better. Okay, people are saying the microphone is good now. Okay, I apologize for that. All right, let's go ahead and push through and continue.
Jeffrey Epstein had donated $50,000 in Howard's honor. Files were posted that accused President Trump via a tip line of inappropriate behavior, to say the least. Then the DOJ took those files down, but now they are back up for you to read for yourself.
Yeah, and I did read them, and they are very, very concerning. Again, though, I got to be cautious here. Accusations can always be thrown around. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're true, but also doesn't necessarily mean that they're not true either, right? We need to have evidence. So I would just say there needs to be an investigation into these things. We need to have the Department of Justice further investigate these things, tell us what the results are of the investigation, if they've already done one, and not just try to sweep it under the rug. I think that we're owed that level of responsibility on part of our government. I mean, again, they're there to serve us. We're paying tax dollars for this, so they owe us answers. I think it's perfectly fair to say we want you to look into this. If that's true, I mean, we need to know, is it the case that a sitting president was engaged in murder and torture and rape and PDF stuff? We need to know that, if that's true. And if it's not true, okay, then we need there to have been a sufficient investigation to look into these things to make sure that that wasn't the case and these were just baseless allegations. All right, let's continue.
Of these claims against President Trump were substantiated because either no contact were made or they were considered invalid. And speaking of Trump, there's a
So if that's true, that's very concerning, right? To just dismiss it as invalid or to not look into it. I'm not happy with that. I want the Department of Justice to actually look into this. Don't just dismiss it, really look into it. And again, if they're baseless, that's fine. I accept that. I have no axe, to grind. I have no horse in the race. If Trump is guilty, that's fine. I'll condemn him. If he's not guilty, that's fine. No sweat off my back either way as far as Trump is concerned, or really anyone else, Bill Clinton or anyone else. I don't have loyalty to persons or even particularly to a party. I have loyalty to the truth and justice. All right, let's continue.
Jeffrey Epstein email that says that he was planning to visit Mar-a-Lago in 2012 after Trump apparently banned him in 2003. There's a report that says that Prince Andrew tortured a girl that was trafficked by Ghislaine Maxwell. And when it comes to Epstein, it appears that the only thing 18 years and older are the people that want to read the files. There are over 3 million new pages, 2,000 videos, and 180,000 new images. So we are just getting started here. Stay tuned for part 2. And
yeah, so like I said, you can see this is pretty disturbing stuff, right? And this is really just scratching the surface. There's a lot more to it. This video has been circulating since last night, I think. I think that's when I began to see it. This is definitely a video from 2019. Screen again here. Here, let me enable the audio. This was a video from 2019, and okay, I think you should be able to see it coming up here in just a second. Here we go. This is from 2019. A 20-year-old Gabriela Rico Jimenez made statements alleging extreme abuse connected to Jeffrey Epstein. She screams that they ate human flesh, that they were sacrificing children and eating humans. Again, in 2019. They say that after this night, she disappeared. No one ever heard from her again. In the Epstein files, there are claims about eating human flesh. This email right here says, thanks, I didn't realize Bush raped him too. Talking about Bush the first and George Bush the first. It says he was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar, but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines. He was also raped by George Bush the first. And here is the video of her in 2019. Let's rewind that.
¡Comieron humanos! ¡Asquerosidad! ¡Comieron humanos! Yo no estaba enterada de nada. Que había, o sea, de los asesinatos sí, pero que habían comido humanos. ¡Humanos!
So, like I said, here she's just, freaking out because she's saying that she had just witnessed at one of these elite parties, I believe an Epstein party, them eating human flesh. What happened to her? They say she disappeared after that night. Given what we're now seeing being discussed in this new batch from the Epstein files, does that mean that there was some truth to what she said? Again, I'm cautious, but I'm not going to bury my head in the sand. I would like to know, and I would like the Department of Justice to fully investigate this. Here's something from Piers Morgan. He says the new Epstein files dump is at the very minimum exposing a lot of rich, famous, powerful people as brazen liars about the nature and duration of their relationship with him. And that brings into sharp question what else they're lying about when it comes to what they did and saw. Correct, because we're now starting to see people who say, I didn't have any more interaction with him after this date. Turns out that's not true. Trump had more interaction with Epstein than he indicated. Elon Musk also had more interaction, it would appear, with Epstein than he also initially indicated. Of course, he's been one who has been calling for the full release of the Epstein files, but turns out he's all over them. And then in some disturbing ways, right? There's some disturbing accusations here involving Elon Musk. Elon Musk emailing him saying, hey, when is the next wild party on our island? What's going on there? Is this a wild party with consenting adults? If it is, well, there might be something that we could critique morally about Elon Musk, but there wouldn't be anything criminal there. But given what we know about Epstein, I don't know if these wild parties that Elon Musk is talking about would necessarily be, consenting adults entirely. So what exactly is going on there? And here's an interesting message from Elon. This is an email from Elon to so he tells us in the email, do you have any parties planned? I've been working to the edge of sanity this year, says 2012. And so once my head home for Christmas, I really want to hit the party and say the peace is the of what I'm looking for. Now, again, I mean, maybe these are just wild parties involving consenting adults, right? And if that's the case, it is what it is morally, but it wouldn't be criminal. But again, given the nature of who Jeffrey Epstein is, it raises questions, right? That's all. And for him to elsewhere email him about when is the next wild party, we have emails with Elon Musk asking him that, again, it's perfectly legitimate to ask what's going on with Elon there, right? And so this is actually one of the emails with Elon Musk and Jeffrey Epstein. And here he says, let me find it. What day and night will be the wildest party on our island? Elon Musk to Jeffrey Epstein, November 25 of 2012. Now, again, he's if you look at Elon's Twitter, he's saying that he's been the one calling for the release of the Epstein files and been calling for justice. He keeps saying that not one of the people who are the clients of Epstein have been prosecuted. So he himself thinks that they need to be prosecuted and thinks it's a travesty that they haven't. But now we're starting to see there may have been a little bit more going on there with Elon Musk and Jeffrey Epstein. That doesn't necessarily mean that there was anything criminal. Again, I'm cautious, but not sticking my head in the sand either. So it is noteworthy. Here's something kind of summarizing the most recent batch with, again, 300 files. Witnesses say journalist Robin Leach strangled a young woman to death at a party. Robin Leach with, lifestyle of the rich and famous. Documents show that Donald Trump was compromised by Israel and abused children. There is a lot of stuff about Trump in here, including being compromised by Israel. There's a lot there from the DOJ. And I have to say this. I don't know what exactly is going on there. Hold on, let me see here. But I will say that we saw Trump saying that he's going to end what's going on in Gaza, saying that to get elected. When he got elected, he did not end what was going on in Gaza. Instead, he funded a genocide. That right there made me really, really have to look at Trump in a different way. When you promise to do something and you not only don't do it, but you do the exact opposite and you do something so horrible like fund genocide, I got to really question you at that point. And I have to ask, what exactly is going on here between him and Israel for him to have changed that significantly so quickly? But here they're saying in the files that he is compromised by Israel and abused children. Bizarre parts talk about how Donald Trump used to evaluate children by measuring their private parts with his finger. Among the participants on this occasion were Elon Musk. So they're accusing Trump of engaging in the PDF stuff, and that Elon Musk was present for that as well and participating to one degree or another. Elon Musk asks Jeffrey Epstein via email when there would be a wild party on Epstein's island. That one I already showed you. Sorry for the interruption. Victim reports having been raped by Bush and witnessing a baby being dismembered, after which its intestines were removed and they ate its feces. Again, disturbing stuff. Bill Gates begged Epstein for antibiotics to secretly give to his then wife, Melinda, after he contracted an STD from sleeping with Russian girls. Some disturbing images of Prince Andrew laying over a woman on a rug looking directly at the camera. Some creepy photos there. They are obviously blocking out the faces in these photos, but you can see Prince Andrew, the disgraced Prince Andrew. He was already kind of, reprobated or considered reprobate by the royal family prior to this batch, and maybe they knew that this would eventually come out. Still regarding Prince Andrew, the document states that he tortured a girl before ordering her murder. A driver heard from a victim that she had been raped by Trump and Epstein. Shortly afterward, she was found dead with her head blown open. In an exchange of emails with Ehud Barak, Jeffrey Epstein asks Ehud to make it clear that he does not work for the Mossad. Wow. Okay. So that's kind of again, a little bit of a summary there. Okay, this one involves Trump. Federal Bureau of Investigation, CHS reporting document. CHS believed Dershowitz was co-opted by Mossad and subscribed to their mission. And then it says, CHS advised that this was a real collusion story. Trump has been compromised by Israel, and Kushner is the real brains behind his organization and his presidency. So there's that. People are talking about that. Again, more disturbing photos of Prince Andrew touching this little girl on the floor. I guess she's a little girl. They got, again, her face blocked out, but don't know what exactly is going on there. That is a little interesting and creepy. Okay, now this is from a congresswoman just posted. Donald Trump is accused of horrific child sex abuse. That's a fact. It's in the Epstein files. And AG Pam Bondi took it down moments after posting it. This egregious and disturbing White House cover-up continues. So I'll say this. Look, again, accusations are accusations, and they're accusations until evidence is produced to substantiate the claims, to show that they're fact, right? But I will say it doesn't look good that there's a lot more in there about Trump than I think he led us to believe. It doesn't look good that he kept telling us, forget the Epstein stuff. It's all a hoax. It doesn't look good that he changed his tune on the question of he's going to release the Epstein files, then tells us there's no files to release. And it definitely doesn't look good that this stuff is, these claims are made about Trump, and moments after the DOJ releases it, they retract them and they're missing from the website. That doesn't look good. What exactly is going on there? Was someone just trying to set up Trump and somebody else got to it and removed it? Or did somebody feel like, no, I'm going to release this information because Trump needs to be held accountable? They released it, and then Trump tells them, take that down. What are you doing? I don't know. It raises a lot of questions. But it doesn't look good that the DOJ publishes it and then takes it away. So those are very disturbing accusations. To summarize again, I am not jumping to conclusions. I don't assume that a person who is accused is automatically guilty. I also don't want to stick my head in the sand and just pretend, oh, this is all fake. It's just a witch hunt. These are baseless accusations. I don't want to stick my head in the sand because it could be that there's merit to the claims. I don't know, though, because I'm not in a position to carry out a full investigation. The Department of Justice, however, is. And it appears that the Department of Justice has dismissed this. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to just take their word for it. I want to see them show their work. I want to see what exactly did they do? How did they investigate this? And if we're not going to get those kinds of answers, we got to really start asking some serious questions, because we're paying the government to serve us. But if they're not going to serve us and they're not going to answer to us, then we need to get people in office who will. So hopefully we'll start to get some answers. We'll see some serious investigations. And if there are updates, I'll certainly let you know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter, so make sure to drop a comment there in the comment section. Do you think that there's merit to these claims? Do you think it's just a witch hunt? I want to hear your perspective. I want to hear your feedback. Make sure, of course, to hit the subscribe button, and also check me out at Patreon, patreon.com/Reason and Theology to support the channel. Like I said, I've been struggling over here for over a week without power. Now running on a generator, but it's still pretty rough and it's incredibly expensive. So if you're able to help out financially, I would really, really appreciate it, because this is becoming a very significant burden on us, because now we're a week without power and we don't know when that's going to change at this point. They keep telling us it's going to be fixed in a day or two. And then day or two comes, oh, it'll be fixed in 2 more days. 2 more days comes, oh, it'll be fixed maybe in 3 more days. 3 more days comes, oh, well, we just don't know. I don't know how long we're going to be out of power. But it's been, like I said, pretty taxing on us in many, many ways. So, of course, keep us in your prayers, and do consider prayerfully supporting the channel if you're able to. Multiple ways that you could do so. There's links in the show notes. There's a GoFundMe, a PayPal, Patreon. And let's see if I can maybe actually do a patron-only show here in just a little bit for you guys. So I'll make sure to tune in for that. I would love to touch base with you all. All right, that's going to do it for now. We'll see you later. God bless. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. And if you want to support my work, check me at patreon.com/Reason and Theology. Also, check out my second channel, Knowledge and Wisdom, right here on YouTube.